So I'm Raghav Mittal, currently a final year undergraduate at DTU, pursuing my BTech in computer engineering, and I'm currently working as a problem setter at Geeks for Geeks and Interview Kickstart. The process consists of four parts. The first one is the resume shortlisting. If you have attempted this question earlier, then it must be a medium one. But if you haven't seen this question earlier, then it will be a hard one. For intern role, like one should have one major project and two minor projects, and for the full-time role, I can suggest like you should have two major projects to be on safe side.
So, hi everyone, welcome again to the placement experience journey brought to you by Upscale Talks. So, continuing ahead with the series where we have gotten some of your seniors from major tech companies. So, for today's session, we have Raghav with us. So, Raghav is currently placed at LinkedIn. So, I will give the stage to Raghav. And Raghav, can you just tell us about your journey, how it has been?
Yeah, hi Archit. Thanks for inviting me to your channel. So I'm Raghav Mittal, currently a final year undergraduate at DTU, pursuing my BTech in computer engineering, and I'm currently working as a problem setter at Geeks for Geeks and Interview Kickstart, a US-based startup, and as a technical content developer at Great Learning on freelancing basis. And I formerly interned as an STE intern at LinkedIn. So yeah.
Okay, so sure, Raghav, we can just continue and get to know more about you, the company. Can you just tell us more on the company front? What actually was the software development profile that you said that you went through an internship and then you got an offer from LinkedIn. So can you just tell us, because we all know what LinkedIn is, but can you just tell us about how actually it functions and what is the role of a software developer that you noticed when you went to the organization?
It was the most wonderful experience of my life while working at LinkedIn. Like I got to know about how the corporate world operates, and talking about the culture at LinkedIn. So it we have a good proper work life balance. Like हमारे half days होते थे Friday को, and also we have in days, which is supposed to happen last Friday of the month. This is all about LinkedIn and my experience.
Okay, so Raghav, I think now we can move to the next section wherein we can talk about the entire placement process. So, can you just explain how did it happen and what was the role in each of these, rounds that you have mentioned? If you remember questions out of any of these rounds, so it would be great on our part, just can you just give us insights about in detail about each and every round that you went through?
Okay, so the hiring process of LinkedIn was off campus. So, first of all, we are supposed to apply online on their portal, on their job portal, and then basically the hiring process consists of four parts. The first one is the resume shortlisting. This is nothing but a GPA shortlisting. Like who have a good GPA will get usually clear this round, and then the second round is the online coding round. And in this particular round, there are two sections. One is for hiring the SWE intern, and the second one is for hiring the full stack developer intern. So for the SW intern role, basically there are three questions. The first question I can say is about the medium level, which is on the bit masking, and the second question was on a graph, which I can say is also of medium complexity, and the third one is based on binary search and DP, and this I can say is a hard one. And yes, like these three questions you can easily find on lead code. And talking about the second section, which is, and yes, I was able to solve all the three questions. And talking about the second part of the coding round, which is the optional round, and which is the optional section basically. So here in this section, there are two questions asked. One is of a coding question, which we are supposed to attempt only in JavaScript, as they are basically judging us on a scale of full stack development, and the second one is based on the SQL, and which I guess they are judging us on the back end. So yeah, and then I cleared this round also, the online coding round, and then I got an interview call about after the about a week, and there the DSL round was happened, and in this round, basically two questions were asked. The first question was of easy complexity and is based on strings. And the second question, I can say, like, if you have attempted this question earlier, then it must be a medium one. But if you haven't seen this question earlier, then it will be a hard one. And the question is based on the binary search tree. So yeah, I was able to solve both the questions. And one basically in this round, you are being judged on about how you are solving a particular coding problem, and the second one is that how are you coding the problem, like the coding style. It is like it is good like if you basically divide your code into functions as much as you can, and basically properly naming of variables is also necessary, I suggest. So yeah, basically it improves the readability of the code, and the interviewer can easily understand our code. And yeah, and the last round is basically the host manager round. So in the host manager round, basically the one of the manager of the team will interview you, and it will basically judge you on two things. The first one is how much टेक्नोलॉजी यू हैव, लाइक तुमको कितने टेक्नोलॉजी है वो तुमको इस बेसिस पर जज करेंगे. एंड द सेकंड वन इज लाइक is in terms of the behavioral aspect, like they basically judge you like तुम कंपनी को like तुम कंपनी के कल्चर में कितना फिट करोगे. So yeah, so these are the two things on which the host manager round basically focuses on. So in my case, basically the round starts with the project. So the manager basically asked me about all the projects which I have mentioned in my resume, and then the cross questioning happened, and so this basically lasted about 30 to 40 minutes. And he also asked me questions about the implementation and of the project, and also like why did I made these projects and what difficulties I faced in them, and about the deployment details and all. And the second one is basically, and then after this project things done, and then he asked me about some of the behavioral questions like where do I see myself in 5 years, and yeah, these are the standard questions, and like why LinkedIn, and like why should we hire you. So yeah, these are the things that are basically asked in this managerial round. And yes, then after about after about 2 weeks, I got the result, like i I got hired. Yeah, so this the whole process basically lasted about 1 month. So yeah.
Okay, Raghav, I have a few questions over here before we move to the next part. So first one is that, you mentioned somewhere in your, the pitch that you mentioned, gave right now. So you said that, you were frequent or, comfortable with JavaScript, right? So how important or how crucial is that decision, or that which language should you decide upon, whether it's C++, Java, or, Python, or, similar kind of languages that are new in the market. So what is your advice on for the viewers watching this video?
Okay, so in my first year, I basically start with the C++, but I generally recommend all of you that you should start with Java, because in companies also, like in major companies, the backend development is in Java, so I prefer Java. Yeah,
Okay,
like
and
one should start with Java. Yeah.
okay, and apart from that, you mentioned, that the host manager round was moreover about your projects that you have previously done, right? So,
Yes.
how important is to, grab all of those concepts, because it might be possible that if you're interviewing today, the project that you have mentioned happened a year or a 1.5 year back. So, how important is to, revise those concepts, or just go thoroughly with the project before appearing for an interview, or how did you go about this?
So basically, yeah, for last minute revision, I basically prefer notes. Like I basically list about the important details of the project in my notebook. So yeah, like I guess last minute notes are the most important to revise. Yeah.
And also on the CGPA part, you mentioned that the resume shortlisting happened purely on the basis of CGPA that you mentioned. So what is
Yes, in my
your
opinion.
yeah, so
Yeah.
what is your advice on how good CGPA should you have? What is the average one कि यार अगर इसके ऊपर होगा तो शायद सारी मेजरली कंपनीज निकल जाएंगी.
Okay, so to be on safe side, it should be 8.5 plus, and but yeah, and the minimum should be 8 in my opinion. And yes, there are some companies which also don't uh, don't
Have a short
mention GPA
CGPA
in their
shortlist.
criteria like coordination and also yeah, it depends from company to company. But yes, in all the major companies in India, they always take GPA into consideration. Yeah.
Okay, so I think now let's just move and shift our focus towards your preparation. What methods did you follow? Just going with the flow. How did you go about your preparation? So can you just explain in detail from the day one into college and thinking, yeah, I will be going into LinkedIn. So that journey, can you just walk us through that journey?
Yeah, sure. So in my first year, I basically started learning C++, and then I purchased a course, and from there I learned data structures and algorithms. So my first year went with the data structures and algorithms. Then in my second year, I have to choose between I have to make projects for my internship. So I basically decided to choose machine learning, and I made some projects in machine learning, and then I started my preparation. Like I started my preparation for the internship, like the internship centric preparation, I can say, and where I basically started learning about the core CS subjects like the object oriented programming, data like DBMS, and the operating systems. And yeah, so this is all about my journey. And I can say, like, for intern role, like one should have one major project and two minor projects. And for the full time role, I can suggest like you should have two major projects to be on safe side. And so yeah.
Also, like if the person watching this video is from a non-CS background, let's say he's not from IT or CS, so the subjects that you have mentioned, such as OOPS or DBMS or operating system, so these are not the part of the curriculum for that particular person watching this. So how should he go about it? Or you can, just move to the next presentation and let us know what is your strategy, because you are in that stage, right? You are a problem setter in all of these major companies that you previously mentioned. So you have a lot of experience in there as well.
Yes. ओके, लाइक अगर तुम लाइक नॉन सीएस बैकग्राउंड से भी हो तो तुम्हें लाइक दिक्कत नहीं होगी इतनी, बिकॉज जो मैंने सब्जेक्ट्स मेंशन करे हैं लाइक तीनों, लाइक ओएस डीबीएमएस एंड oops, like you can basically study them for the interview purpose in 2 weeks. Like you can read about them from the Geeks for Geeks articles, and you can refer the YouTube channels like Knowledge Gate and Gates Measures. And the most important thing I should recommend is to prepare notes of all of them, because these are very necessary for the last minute revision. Like if you have an interview tomorrow, and if you want to review something, then you should have a proper notes. So yeah, this is for the CS fundamentals, I can say. And for practicing DSA, I started my journey with code forces. Then I switched to lead code binary search. I basically give many contests on lead code and binary search. And yes, I also practice on Geeks for Geeks. And yes, I make the notes of the important questions which I revised uh, in basically the last day of my interview. And yes, so and for projects you should also prepare notes. And also some companies ask for the puzzles, and for that I basically prefer Geeks for Geeks. And the second one is the YouTube channels. And you basically what I did in my case, like suppose मैंने कोई puzzle पढ़ी, and वो मैंने geeks पढ़ रहा हूँ, and मेरे को वो puzzle like कुछ समझ नहीं आया उसके अंदर, then I basically go on YouTube and search for that problem, and then understand the problem. And for behavioral questions, basically yes, I basically prefer the star method. The star method basically means, like, the star method stands for like the situation, task, action and result. Basically क्या होता है, like जब भी तुमसे कोई एचआर का कुछ क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं, तो तुमको क्या करना होता है? सबसे पहले तुम एक कंडीशंस के तुम अपन जो भी तुम्हें क्वेश्चन पूछा, तुम एक सिचुएशन बताओ उससे रिलेटेड कि तुम्हारी लाइफ में भी ऐसा कुछ हुआ है। फिर तुम एक टास्क के बारे में बताओ कि तुमने उस सिचुएशन में क्या टास्क करा है, लाइक तुम्हारी क्या ड्यूटीज रही हैं। एंड थर्ड तुम ये बताओ एक्शन कि तुमने तुम्हारा एक्शन क्या था, लाइक तुमने उस इशू को रिजॉल्व कैसे करा। एंड देन द लास्ट वन इज द रिजल्ट, लाइक जो तुमने एक्शन लिया, उसका तुम्हारा आउटकम क्या था, लाइक द आउटकम ऑफ द एक्शन टेकन। So yeah, like this is the best strategy for answering behavioral questions. And also I prefer, like in my case, I rejected in five interview, like I was rejected by five companies. So I prefer, like you should give mock interviews for, like this will basically help you in cracking the interviews. And yeah.
Okay, I think you have, just given end-to-end solution to each and every strategy or the difficulty that is placed by, or just by a person watching this video might be going through all of these strategies. So thank you very much for, just listing all of the resources down. So so before we wrap this session up, Raghav, do you have any last piece of advice for the viewers watching this video? Because you mentioned you got rejected in five companies and then you got an offer from LinkedIn. So I think that was an incredible one. Keep persisting. What is your advice?
लाइक यार ये है कि तुम बस मेहनत करते रहो, ठीक है। जो तुम्हें रिजेक्शन फेस हो रही है उसमें तुम अपनी जो गलतियां हैं उस पर फोकस करो कि तुम लाइक बेसिकली अगर तुमको कोई भी रिजेक्शन होता है तो तुम बेसिकली सेल्फ एनालाइज करो कि तुम्हारे कहाँ कहाँ पर मिस्टेक्स रह गई, एंड देन उसको नेक्स्ट इंटरव्यू के लिए रिजॉल्व करो। इन माय केस मेरे को ये था कि मेरे को थोड़ा कम्युनिकेशन बैरियर था, तो मैंने मॉक इंटरव्यूज दिए। So that basically helped me a lot in gaining my confidence and in recognizing my weaknesses. So I worked on them, and then I cracked the LinkedIn in first go after giving mock interviews. So yeah, and the second thing is that I prefer, like you should prepare notes because they are very important for the last minute revision. And also you should regularly participate in contests, and you can use lead code and binary search. Like I basically prefer them because in coding rounds you can basically see that the questions are directly from lead code and binary search. So yeah, like the pattern remains the same. So I prefer, like you should give regular contests to maintain the proper you can say environment and time based solutions. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Raghav, for taking out time and recording this for us. So thank you, and thank you all for watching this video. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Bye bye.